I reiterate Labour's opposition to this bill on the grounds that we've outlined, but we do look forward to seeing the results of the Select Committee process.
Mr. Speaker.
I recognise the honourable member Mark Mitchell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to be able to take a call on this, the first reading of the Corrections Amendment Bill. Mr. Speaker, as a member of the Law and Order Select Committee, I look forward to reviewing this bill. Mr. Speaker, it's been a great pleasure to be in the House today and to listen to the great results delivered by the Ministers of Health, Social Development and Education. And I see this bill as continuing with a theme that's building around efficiencies and delivering world-class services. The current legislation is sound. However, this bill has taken a positive step towards removing barriers that will allow the management of prisoners in an even more safe, secure, humane and effective way. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud that under a national-led government we have seen public confidence in corrections rise to 53% higher than what it was in June 2008. That prison escapes are at their lowest ever, with only 2 in the year ending 1st of October 2011. Personally, I find this statistic very comforting, as my own electorate, Rodney, has Paramaribo, our maximum security prison, in the area, and houses some of the country's worst and most dangerous criminals. Mr. Speaker, in a previous life, I was a police dog handler, and what that meant that I was the first one called out when there was an escaped prisoner. I spent a week on the Coromandel hunting for 4 dangerous and armed prisoners who had escaped from Paramaribo. What I saw was a community that became traumatised, were living in fear and disruption caused by the escape of these prisoners. I'd also like to address an observation that was made by one of the opposition members in relation to the use of mechanical restraints. I would like to draw attention again to the fact that these relate directly to protecting a prisoner from self-harm, protecting a prisoner from themselves. In my experience, I've seen prisoners inflict serious injuries to themselves very, very quickly by doing something as simple as throwing themselves against a wall, or as extreme as trying to gouge their own eyes out. This amendment allows a prison manager who is present on the spot to make a decision which still has to be backed up by the opinion of a medical officer, so there are checks and balances in place, that restraint is necessary to protect that prisoner from self-harm. This is a policy that drips in common sense and will make a process far more efficient for those having to deal with the practicalities of prisoner management and safety. And I do note, Mr. Speaker, that my colleague Mrs. Lola Taylor, who probably has got more experience than anyone sitting in this House of dealing in the corrections field, made one comment today about this bill, and that was common sense. And I agree with her completely. And I was very pleased to see that she's supporting this bill as well. What also appears to be a common sense policy is the removing of the requirement of a corrections officer to obtain the prison manager's approval to conduct a strip search of a prisoner whom the officer believes on reasonable grounds possesses an unauthorised item. These correction officers, Mr. Speaker, are the personnel at the coalface and are well qualified through their training and their experience and using their gut instinct to be able to make a reasonable decision whether or not a prisoner possesses an unauthorised item, whether it be something that could be used as a weapon or contraband. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to finish by saying that I commend this Corrections Amendment Bill to go to the Select Committee for a review. I think that it is a bill that contains straight common sense, practical steps to continue to give the people on the front line, as we've done with the police, as we've done in our health services, equipping our frontline providers with the tools that they need to be able to provide the best world-class services. Thank you very much.
Before